The whole
Yeah.
saying of too many cooks will spoil the broth. Sure, but have you ever been in a Michelin-starred restaurant? There's like 80 cooks.
Ooh. I talk about something which I call the dysfunction of size. And this applies mainly to the corporate world. The bigger organizations get, the more dysfunctional they seem to get. The more layers you get between, the senior team and what the business actually does. The more scope there is to kind of overcomplicate things, the more you just get really obsessed and focused. And people then end up doing very specialist things and lose sight of the big picture that they're involved in the organization. And I think all of those things, you throw them all together, and what you basically get is just organizations that kind of lost sense and start to do crazy things, which are counterproductive to the things that they want to do, like make profits and grow. So I'm converted to small is beautiful when it comes to business.
Well, that's
small
it.
and
And a lot of the conversations we've had, obviously, is, you work with significantly bigger businesses than us. We've got about 10 employees right now. However, that's kind of what keeps me bringing back and being like, oh, it's so much common sense, because it's very easy for us to implement stuff like that at our size. But and I guess it's almost like too many cooks, right? The whole saying of too many cooks will spoil the broth. Sure, but have you ever been in a Michelin-starred restaurant? There's like 80 cooks.
Yeah.
Right. But they all have a purpose. They all have a specific, thing that they're great at. I am the line cook, and I'm going to make the best veg ever, and knock it on to the next person. So I don't know whether it is, too many cooks shouldn't be a problem if you've got that culture.
If you've got the culture, if you've got what I call alignment. And so purpose provides alignment. So I often say, and I think I've said this to you before, purpose provides three things for business. So the first thing that it provides is clarity. You understand what your business is there to do. Your customers understand what your business is there to do. So internally, that helps to drive your strategy. Externally, it helps to shape your marketing messages. You're really clear about what you do. Alignment then has that internal focus. In terms of, and that's about culture. That's, when you're purpose driven, people are all rowing in the same direction. And again, that is not the norm in businesses. Clarity, most businesses are confused. Alignment, most businesses are full of infighting and sales fighting with operations and sales fighting with marketing and finance.
Hey, why is it always
with everybody.
sales? Jeez.
Well, it's normally finance. So purpose provides clarity and alignment, but it also then it harnesses passion. So it harnesses the passion of your people. It harnesses the passion of your customers. And when you put those three things together, when you've got the clarity and you get the alignment and you harness the passion, then again, all of those things click together. It's your strategy, it's your culture, it's your ambition within your business, and the talent and the drive for that talent to go and do special things. And that's why purpose powers performance in business.
So good. And I think the alignment is essentially, the clarity, I imagine, can probably happen from the top down and maybe not make it all the way down. All the management get it. We're doing this. Yeah. High five and chest bumps. And we're doing this. It's going to be amazing. We're going to really concentrate on people. But does that get down to the lowest person on the totem pole? Or are they just still being like, wow, same thing? And I think, implementing that alignment must be difficult, because you probably have to sit down with kind of everybody. Everyone's different. Everyone absorbs information differently.
Yeah, and you have to be authentic and consistent as well, because that's the thing, and again, you see it with big businesses. They might say, well, this is our purpose. We're here to do whatever. And then you actually look at the behavior in the business and what people are doing. It's like, well, we're here to do this, yes, but as long as we put our prices up, or as long as we work longer, or whatever it is. And so actually, in those, and that's when you get that inconsistency. And people are like, well, and so if you're sat in a business that's professing to be purpose-led, and then you see behavior that's completely inconsistent with it, you just be like, nah, don't buy it.
Sure. And
how frustrating, because I don't see it. And it's almost counterproductive.
And frustrating for everyone, for those of the management team who have clarity, right? We know what we're doing. And then, so how frustrating to see that not implemented, but also from bottom up, how frustrating if you're doing your job and then, great, they've come up with a new way we're doing things, but it's not actually, you don't know the reasoning. And I think a lot of what we've spoken about in the past as well is about, it's getting that messaging across. It's making sure everyone understands it. And I think, as you said there, consistency. You can't tell anyone something once and expect it to happen. Maybe you can, but probably not. You probably have to come back and reiterate, and what roadblocks have you found? Let's work on it. Where am I failing? Where are you failing? Like, where are we both succeeding?
And it's and that's the thing. It's got to be more than words, and it's got to be more than a message. It's got to turn into behaviors and how you do stuff, and go further than that, and the impact that you have. And so, if you get clear on your purpose, and that might then turn into some nice marketing taglines and some internal stuff for engagement. But actually, you've got to then walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk, and that's when the rubber hits the road in businesses who when it comes down to them saying, well, this is how we work, it's then got to be followed up with an expectation that that's how everybody behaves. So it's about the culture in the business. It's about the values in the business. It's about the behaviors in the business. And again, it's about getting all of those clicked together and consistent.
Sounds difficult.
It's if you're honest, it's actually not difficult. It does become simple because it links all together. So if you are genuine about what it is that you're there to do, and purpose doesn't need to be like some crazy highfalutin thing. If you make bikes, and you love bikes and you love cycling, then it is absolutely okay for your purpose to be, we want to, we love cycling and we want to make the best bikes, and that's what our purpose is. And then if you go and recruit people who are also passionate about bikes and cycling and all of that, and they come into your business, then actually your culture and behaviors become really fairly easy to start to define. Because it's real and it's authentic. And so, whether you're making bikes and it's about shipping them to customers, or whether you've got bike shops and it's, people come in and you want to help them fix the bikes, you want to help them ride the bikes faster, you want to help them get better bikes, all of those things are absolutely consistent.
Of course.
And that's the thing. It's in those circumstances, those examples, it's not difficult. It is difficult when you've lost sight of it.
Right, because you kind of swimming upstream just to get back to where you should be.
And again, that's why it's hard for bigger businesses, I think. And I think purpose gets a bad name because actually it's quite in the vogue with big businesses at the moment.
Right.
And a lot of people see through it as, well, this is a bit of a marketing campaign. And, this is not a real life example, but, if you make guns and your purpose is suddenly world peace, then everybody is going to see through that and kind of think, no, that's just not consistent. And I think with a lot of big businesses, they're buying into it from a point of view of, well, we think it's important to consumers, so we want to tell them that. So it becomes about a marketing message, whereas actually it really does have to go right the way through the organization.
Funny enough, and this is showing off how much of a geek I am, but that makes me think Iron Man 1. Right? In Iron Man, the guy suddenly realizes that his entire legacy is about death and destruction and decides to change that. And the business is a weapon manufacturers and decides to change that for something else. Now, interestingly, and I'm spitballing as I work here, the way that CEO implements this change is A, starts coming up with brand new products that can filter down through the whole business, and B, puts someone else in charge. realizing that he wasn't the right person to do it. And I think that it must be so hard for a big business, especially if you're looking back and saying, like, year on year we're successful at this because now we're going to change that for like a new, not direction, but a new way of looking at the direction. It must be a very scary prospect, I imagine, for a lot of big businesses.
But I think a lot of big businesses are in trouble. Business doesn't stand still, the world doesn't stand still. And performance, I like to think, performance is simple. There's probably in any given business, there's 4 or 5 things you need to get right, but it's like spinning plates. So as one's spinning okay, you realize the next one's wobbling, so you run around to get that one. You see and actually that's what business is like. It's just a whole, 5 or 6 plates which are always wobbling, and the business is running around in circles trying to keep them all spinning. And so I think, big businesses who are trying to wrestle with their performance, their success, their growth, they're coming to purpose because they're like, oh, there's something here. There's a load of academic research that says purpose-driven businesses perform better. They're seeing that consumers want it. It will fail when the exec team lock themselves in the room and get somebody to come and facilitate it and say, okay, let's come up with our new purpose. That's not going to work. Actually, it needs to be a journey that the whole organization goes on. And the way to discover your purpose, if you've lost it, is actually to go back into your business and to start to have the conversation and involve everybody in the business with it, and start to ask questions like, when do you feel most proud to work here? When do you feel least proud to work here? Which is always a really insightful question, because you know how to surface all the issues in a business. Ask that question straight away. You can see what some of the issues are.